government with all stakeholders. Japan requests creditor countries to commence discussions on Sri Lanka's debt sustainability. Price of retrogas will be reduced again from Monday. The World Food Programme grants food aid to the value of another $20 million. The Central Committee unanimously approves the constitutional amendment in connection with the chairmanship of SLFP. The Argentine vice president escapes an attempt on her life.
We move on to those and other stories in detail, and in your top local story tonight, the interim budget was passed by a majority of 115 votes in Parliament today.
120 members voted for the budget, while 5 voted against the budget. 2 members of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna and Tamil National Alliance voted against the budget. 43 members representing Samagi Jana Balawegaya abstained from voting. The other members were not in the House when the vote was taken. Government parliamentarians and opposition members expressed their views during the interim budget debate, which took place for the 3rd day. Minister Ali Sabri said that the IMF has asked to change tax policies payments to suit expenditure for petrol and electricity. They have asked to prepare a mechanism to save people suffering from poverty. They have also asked to prepare a financial policy based on data. They are also saying to build a central bank for which politicians cannot interfere, to create a sustainable methodology for the security of banking system, and to prepare a legal system to prevent fraud and corruption. Therefore, both sides of the parliament should get together and implement the policies without shouting slogans. Minister Harin Fernandez said that a solution was given when it was not possible to cultivate in the next season. Although the price of goods has increased, people have understood that there is a forward movement. However, the opposition cannot understand that. There are meetings from morning to evenings, but no decisions are being taken. They are waiting until an election is held. We gave conditions to Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe and he acted on those.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson commended the efforts of President Ranil Wickremesinghe for establishing an inclusive government which will bring the stability needed to address issues for the Sri Lankan people. In a congratulatory message to President Wickremesinghe on his appointment as the head of state, the British Prime Minister said that upholding democratic principles and seeking democratic consensus will be vital to President Ranil Wickremesinghe's success. Reiterating the British government's sincere commitment to Sri Lanka, Prime Minister Boris Johnson said the UK will continue to work with the people of Sri Lanka, especially during the current economic and social challenges. He has hoped that the President will be able to make quick and positive progress with the International Monetary Fund. The UK stands ready to engage with international partners to support Sri Lanka on this issue. The British Prime Minister also expressed confidence that the two governments can work together to achieve long-lasting and substantive progress on reconciliation and accountability in Sri Lanka. He also highlighted the recently announced Developing Countries Trading Scheme. This, he said, will offer Sri Lanka the opportunity to benefit from duty-free access for the vast majority of total goods exported to the UK. The British Prime Minister has said that he anticipates there are strong opportunities for UK support with green finance and renewable energy. The British Prime Minister has recalled the conversation the two leaders had in May about shared ambitions on climate change. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson concluded his message by expressing confidence that with Sri Lanka due to celebrate its 75th anniversary of independence, UK and Sri Lanka would continue to build an even deeper and stronger partnership. He also appreciated Sri Lanka's efforts to prioritize UK-Sri Lanka relations and wished President Wickremesinghe the very best in his efforts to restore stability and prosperity in Sri Lanka. The President of the Republic of Singapore, Halima Yaacob, congratulated President Ranil Wickremesinghe on his assumption of duties as the 8th Executive President of Sri Lanka. The Singapore President thanked President Ranil Wickremesinghe for his message sent on the 8th of August 2022 on the occasion of Singapore's 57th National Day. President Halima Yaacob also wished President Ranil Wickremesinghe success in his new appointment. Japanese Finance Minister Shunichi Suzuki has requested creditor countries including China and India to commence discussions on Sri Lanka's debt sustainability.
Meanwhile, China has said that they are prepared to work in close cooperation with Sri Lanka on the debt issue. Japanese Finance Minister Shunichi Suzuki made a statement about Sri Lanka's debt sustainability during a media briefing this morning. He especially mentioned about China and India during the press briefing. The Japanese Finance Minister said that creditor countries including China and India should join immediately to commence talks on Sri Lanka's debt. Japan has expressed a willingness to intervene to restructure Sri Lanka's debt. Making a statement last week, also the Japanese government said they are prepared to summon a summit with Sri Lanka's creditor nations. An agreement has to be reached on concessions related to repaying debt taken from states and private organizations by Sri Lanka before the implementation of the agreement between the International Monetary Fund and Sri Lanka government yesterday. After the IMF agreement yesterday, Chinese embassy in Colombo issued a Twitter message. It said that China will encourage IMF and other international organizations to assist Sri Lanka in the debt crisis. It has recalled that they are a main stakeholder to the IMF. China, as a traditional friend of Sri Lanka, has requested creditors to follow positive measures and to contribute to solve the economic crisis. Chinese Foreign Minister has expressed belief that Sri Lanka will work together with China for a sustainable solution. The statement issued by the embassy said that Chinese financial organizations are prepared to follow positive steps regarding Sri Lanka's debts. Economic experts say that the International Monetary Fund provides a loan of $2.9 billion to increase central bank reserves and as a solution to the balance of payment crisis. They have emphasized it will not be used to import fuel or gas.
Sri Lanka does not have to go after the IMF all the time, and there is a big criticism against our relationship with the IMF because we have been there 16 times and now this is the 17th time. Itself implies that there is something wrong in this relationship, and it is not on the part of the IMF, it is on the part of our side. Why? Because we have not improved our economic status even after receiving the IMF support, because we had to abandon our reform program. We had to abandon the implementation of the vital decisions that we have reached at these negotiations, so that we never came out of the economic crisis at that time. So that has been the reason why Sri Lanka had to go after the IMF over and over. But actually, there are no countries to my knowledge in Asia which have been to IMF so many times. Why? Because they improve their internal conditions. So we have to put our home in order, our house in order in the recovery process to recover the economy from our economic crisis that we are faced with today, and then to sustain our long-term economic progress. So with these things in place, in fact, I expect that at least this time we would be able to correct this situation, and then this will be the last time that we have to go to the IMF if we do things correct. This agreement is also important when we look at the deterioration of the Sri Lanka's image in the international financial markets and other areas. Because during the last couple of months or years, we have seen that Sri Lanka's international position has been damaged. And we have also suspended our loan repayment a couple of months ago. The credit agencies have also, credit rating agencies have also downgraded our credit worthiness. So all these things have carried negative repercussions over our economy. So the agreement with the IMF is also important to reverse this deterioration of the Sri Lankan image in the international markets, but not necessarily the amount of money that we receive as the extended fund facility, which is actually a small amount which would be spread over a period of 4 years.
Indices at the Colombo Stock Exchange recorded significant gains for the third consecutive day today. The market observers have indicated that this is a positive growth which transpired with the IMF agreement and many other developments.
The stock market had an eventful week, starting off with the presentation of the interim budget by the President on Tuesday, which contains several social protection measures on the expenditure side and limited new tax changes on the revenue side. This was followed by the IMF staff approval, which came in on Thursday, where it noted that it welcomed the substantial tax reforms already undertaken, and especially those which were introduced in May, coming into effect from October onwards, as well as the other policy as well as SOE reforms which have already begun. This puts Sri Lanka in a stronger footing as it goes into negotiations with its official creditors over the coming months. This positive news kept the market upbeat, with it moving up 536 basis points over the week and the ASPI closing at 9,316 as at end of trading on Friday. With the news of the IMF staff level agreement coming in, we've already seen foreign participation increasing over the last 2 days, and we believe this will shore up investor confidence going forward as well and keep markets in the green going into next week as well.
Minister Ali Sabri says that Sri Lanka stopped payment of debt after getting the views of all stakeholders, including economic experts. The minister said if anyone levels accusation, he will accept the responsibility. He mentioned this while replying to the views expressed in Parliament today about Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Weerasinghe. Minister Ali Sabri said that it is important to pay back debt. However, if there are children without food and hospitals without medicines, is it possible to pay debt by collecting all funds? We have to take the decision to provide food to the children. That decision was taken after holding discussions with everyone. If there is a fault, we will not run away. I was the finance minister at that time. The proposal was brought to me by the central bank. I spoke with the central bank. Mr. Kumaraswamy, Mrs. Shiromi Kure and Mr. Shanta Devarajan were connected over Zoom. Discussions were held with some more international experts. Discussions took place with the former finance minister. Discussions were also held with Dr. Harsha De Silva. We did not decide to repay. However, there was no money to be paid. We will accept the responsibility. I took the decision after discussions. Dr. Nandalal Weerasinghe gave me the necessary instructions. If someone wants to remove him, I will step aside but keep him. People in the country are getting benefits today due to the decisions taken by him. What is difficult is to accept responsibilities and perform the duties.
Chairman of the Litro Gas company Mudita Piri says that they expect to reduce the price again from Monday. He said that the gas price will be revised according to the price formula, taking into consideration the price reduction in the world market.
As Litro Gas, we would like to announce we will be reducing the Litro Gas cylinders from Monday. We will be announcing the exact amount of reduction on Monday. So we have already completed almost 5 million we have issued to the market. I think we have got rid of all the queues what we experienced last few months. So newly introduced price formula by Litro Gas and also Consumer Affairs Authority and also the help of Finance Ministry will be based on the pricing, new pricing formula. Will be reducing the gas prices from Monday midnight.
Meanwhile, the company said the new app to purchase Litro Gas will be introduced next week. It will give the opportunity for Sri Lankans living overseas to order gas to their relatives and to make payments with dollars. Long fuel queues were seen near filling stations today as well. Farmers are being provided fuel to harvest paddy in the Polonnaruwa district. Nearly 19,800 litres of fuel have been issued yesterday for about 2,000 farmers.
President's Head of Staff Sagala Ratnayaka has instructed officials to provide speedy solutions to fuel, gas and paddy sectors during a discussion at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. Discussions took place with officials of the Petroleum Corporation on purchasing, fuel and distribution. Mr. Sagal Ratnayake instructed officials to provide solutions to the problems of the people affected by the fuel crisis. He instructed officials to give priority to solve issues related to kerosene. Discussions took place with officials of the Paddy Marketing Board and heads of state banks on the problems faced by the Paddy Marketing Board when purchasing under a guaranteed price for the farmers and the price increase of rice. Mr. Sagal Ratnayake instructed officials to expedite purchasing of paddy and to improve facilities at paddy storage complexes. Discussions also took place on the gas crisis, purchasing, importing and distribution of gas, and steps were taken to solve the prevailing problems. Minister Mahinda Amaravira, MP Nimal Lanza, President Secretary Saman Ekanayaka, President Senior Advisor on Economic Affairs Dr. R.H. Samaratunga and a group of people attended the discussion.
A meeting took place between Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena and a delegation of World Food Programme at the Parliament complex. The representatives of the World Food Programme expressed their willingness to provide another food aid of $20 million apart from the $40 million of aid given to Sri Lanka so far. The World Food Programme agreed to a request by the Prime Minister to provide additional assistance to give nutritional food for pregnant and lactating mothers and children. He requested to look into the possibility of developing cottage industries and small-scale fisheries industry. Asia Pacific Director of the World Food Programme, John Ailef, delegates Abdul Rahim Siddiq, Mustafa Nehmat, Prime Minister's Secretary Anura Dissanayake and Additional Secretary Harsh Vijayawardena attended the meeting. SLFP's Central Committee has unanimously approved the constitutional amendment in connection with the chairmanship of the party yesterday.
Parliamentarians expressed their views to the media about this. MP Dayasiri Jayasekara said that first they have to abide by the decision taken by the party before speaking about democracy. Ministerial portfolios were accepted by ignoring the democratic decision taken by the party not to support without an all-party government. Therefore, we think it should not be considered. We will stand by the decisions taken by the party and the working committee. There is no right to speak about democracy if actions are taken against those.
Former President Maithripala Sirisena said that there was accusation from the party members and seniors that the party is not made stronger. There were decisions by courts stating there were problems in the constitution relating to disciplinary matters. Therefore, a report on legal measures taken from 5 president councillors was included in the constitution. The Central Committee of the party unanimously approved it. Today is World Coconut Day. The Coconut Cultivation Board has organized a ceremony to mark the day. The World Coconut Day is celebrated on the 2nd of September annually. The Kapruka Abhisheka program was implemented to select the best coconut planter under 4 categories island-wide. Presentation of awards and certificates for the winners took place today under the patronage of Plantation Minister Dr. Ramesh Patiranan. Coconut planters were given hybrid coconut saplings and subsidy checks during the program. Entrepreneurs engaged in the coconut-related industries were provided with machinery. Steps have been taken to distribute 40,000 high-quality coconut saplings for coconut planters island-wide.
A training program has been launched to develop language skills of nurses who go for foreign employment. The relevant agreement was signed between Nursing Officers Union and Official Languages Study Institute today. The agreement was signed by Chairman of the Government Nurses Officers Union Saman Ratnapriya and Chairman of Official Languages Study Institute Chulan Ratnayake. The Chairman of the Government Nursing Officers Union said that nearly 1,400 nurses have sent applications to study languages.
SLT Mobitel opened its new Custom Experience Centre at the BMICH recently. It has been named as the Arena. Chairman of Sri Lanka Telecom Group Rohan Fernando, Chief Executive Officer Janakabe Singha, Chief Executive Officer of Mobitel, Chandika Vitharana and group of people were present on the occasion. People will get the opportunity to experience new product solutions and services through this new Consumer Experience Center, which has been introduced by SLT Mobitel for digital transformation with new technology. SLT Mobitel Enterprise Solutions, special solutions for small and medium-scale entrepreneurs, smart home solutions for a digital lifestyle and esports experience are also included. New mobile services including 5G are available at the new premises.
And with that, we bring you some more local stories from home in brief. A Chinese delegation has implemented a series of social service activities at the Gangarame temple. It was launched symbolically at the temple recently. Essential food sacks were distributed among low-income recipients under the program. Kundalika Meritorious Summit of China has donated the items to Sri Lanka. The first Kumbal procession of Hangurankita Sri Vishnu Devalaya and Pattini Devalaya paraded the streets last night. The area is considered as a sub-kingdom of the Kandyan kingdom. A special gate named Hope Entrance was opened yesterday at the Katunayake airport for the convenience of the immigrant workers in recognition of their services to the country. A group of people including Ministers Nimal Siripala de Silva and Manusha Nanakara were present on the occasion.
Steps have been taken to prevent delays when getting information from state organizations. The Ministry of Public Administration has requested the public to mention telephone and WhatsApp numbers and the email when sending applications. The main aim is to prevent delays when sending requested information through letters. This was disclosed during a discussion today between President Secretary Samaneka Naika and Ministry Secretaries at the President's office. The President's Secretary said it is the responsibility of all ministry and state officials to work for the convenience of the public. Therefore, he said it is compulsory to provide an efficient service without inconveniencing anyone. These steps have to be followed when requesting information from the Presidential Secretariat. President's Senior Assistant Secretary Sisira Senadhira is working as the Information Officer since 2019. President's Additional Secretary Dr. Sulakshana Jayawardena is working as the named officer. Mr. Sisira Senadhira can be contacted on 0718 132 590 or 0112 354 329 and 0112 354 354 telephone numbers. Dr. Sulakshana Jayawardena can be contacted over the telephone numbers 0719 994 133, 071 992 354 or 0112 354 329 and 0112 354 354 and through the email add.lsec.fsd@presidentsoffice.lk. Stay tuned with us. News from overseas coming your way after this short break.
ஒவ்வொரு நாளுமே 10,000 ரூபாவாம் பெருமதி மிக்கதாய் வாராந்தம் தங்கமாம் மாதாந்தம் மில்லியனை வெல்லலாமே போட்டியில் கோடிகளை அள்ளலாமே.
நீங்கள் வெளிநாட்டிலிருந்து அனுப்பும் பணத்தினை மக்கள் வங்கிக்கு அனுப்பினால் பரிசு குவியல்கள். பீப்பிள்ஸ் ரெமிட்டன்ஸ் கோடி அதிர்ஷ்டம். அனுப்புங்கள், வெல்லுங்கள்.
யுத்தத்தில் நாம் ஒன்றிணைத்து நாளைய தினத்திற்கு அடித்தளம் அமைக்கும் மக்கள் வங்கியின் எஸ் டிஜிட்டல் சேமிப்பு கணக்கு. சேலஞ்சிற்கு எஸ்.
நாங்க சீக்கிரமா வங்கிக்கு போவோமா?
இந்த நாட்கள் எப்படிமா வெளியில போறது?
அப்பா வெஸ்டர்ன் யூனியன்ல பணத்தை அனுப்பி இருக்காரு.
அம்மாட கணக்கு இருப்பது மக்கள் வங்கியிலனால வங்கிக்கு போக தேவையில்லை. ஒரு கோல்லே வேலையை முடிக்கலாமே.
வாட்ஸ்அப் மற்றும் வைபர் ஊடாக தொடர்பு கொள்ளலாம். மக்கள் வங்கியில் மட்டுமே. வெளிநாட்டிலிருந்து வெஸ்டர்ன் யூனியன் ஊடாக அனுப்பும் பணம் இப்போது மக்கள் வங்கியின் கால் மற்றும் டிபாசிட் சேவை ஊடாக.
හොඳම දේ විශ්වාසයෙන් ට්‍රීට් කරන්න. Prima Treats. Life is a treat.
Welcome back. We have some foreign stories for you. We take a look at Argentina. Argentina's vice president has narrowly avoided assassination after gunman's weapon jammed as he aimed at her. Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner was greeting supporters outside her home when a man emerged from the crowd and pointed a handgun in her face. President Alberto Fernandez said the gun was loaded with 5 bullets but failed to fire when triggered. Fernandez de Kirchner is involved in a corruption trial and was returning from court. She denies the charges. Police said the gunman, who local media identified as a 35-year-old Brazilian man, has been taken into custody. They are attempting to establish a motive for the attack.
Myanmar's deposed former leader Aung San Suu Kyi was found guilty of electoral fraud and sentenced by a judge to 3 years in jail with hard labor, according to a source familiar with the proceedings. Aung San Suu Kyi, the Nobel laureate and figurehead of Myanmar's opposition to decades of military rule, has been detained since a coup earlier last year and has already been sentenced to more than 17 years in prison. She denies all the allegations against her. India has commissioned its first home-built aircraft carrier as it seeks to counter China's much larger and growing fleet of warships and also expand India's indigenous shipbuilding capabilities. The INS Vikrant, whose name is the Sanskrit word for powerful or courageous, is India's second largest operational aircraft carrier and joins the Soviet-era INS Vikramaditya that was bought from Russia in 2004 to defend the Indian Ocean and Bay of Bengal.
In sports news, after a nail-biting contest which kept the supporters glued to the edge of their seats until the very last over, Sri Lanka finally emerged victorious.